7 FM, the people's voice. This is Kunle Amzat Studio, Agidigbo 88.7 FM. Welcome to The Quest.
Speaking at a public event in Bauchi, Governor Seyi Makinde said, "For 7 years, we didn't witness anything like this in Ondo State. I declared to run for presidency at 4 p.m. and by 9 a.m. the following morning, the children were abducted." With these, I welcome you to another edition of The Quest. I am Olu Okikiola. Today, July 29, 2026, we shall be looking at the claim made by the Governor of Ondo State, Engineer Seyi Makinde, on the 10th of July, 2026, as quoted by the Punch newspaper. Oyo school abduction came hours after my 2027 presidential declaration, titled by the Punch. What we checked, we examined whether Oyo State had experienced significant incidents of banditry, kidnapping, and violent attacks before the May 15, 2026 school abduction. What we found, December 2020, the mother of a certain Dr. Abdul Fatai Aborode, Dr. Fatai Aborode, a United Kingdom returnee, agricultural investor and politician, was attacked and killed by gunmen while returning from his farm in Igogon, Ibarapa North local government area. The incident drew national attention to the worsening security situation in Oyo's agrarian communities. January 2021, the kidnap and murder of Alhaja Sherifat Adisa, Chief Executive Officer of Subawa Oil, was kidnapped along the Idere Ayeta Road and later murdered. Contemporary report also stated that 2 children died during the attack. This was reported in the nation's newspaper, January 23, 2021, titled, "Oyo Communities at Mercy of Kidnappers." June 2021, Igangon attack. Gunmen invaded Igangon in a coordinated overnight attack. At least 11 people were reportedly killed, including Lateef Adeniyi, the head of Vigilante Group, Ibrahim Adiagbo, Amotekun operative, and several houses were also destroyed. Sources of these are Reuters, June 21, BBC News Pidgin, June 21, Premium Times, June 21, The Punch newspaper, June 21. May 15, 2026, mass abduction of school children in Yawata. Armed attackers abducted dozens of pupils and teachers from LA Primary School, Yawata in Owerri local government area, which was the most recent attack, before retreating into the old Oyo National Park corridor. This remains the first known mass abduction of its kind in Oyo State. The analysis. Governor Makinde's statement contains two distinct factual elements. One, which is a question. Did the kidnapping occur hours after his presidential declaration? The answer to that is an emphatic yes. The public record supports the chronology described by the governor. The question two is, had Oyo State witnessed similar security threats during the previous 7 years? The answer depends on what is meant by anything like this in the governor's statement. If the governor was referring to specifically the mass abduction of school children, then the statement is accurate. However, if the statement is understood more broadly to suggest that Oyo State had not experienced serious insecurity during the preceding 7 years, the historical records provide important context as laid down earlier. Before May 2026, Oyo had already experienced high-profile killings, kidnappings for ransom, deadly attacks on rural communities, and violent attacks attributed to armed criminal groups operating in the Ibarapa-Okiogun forest corridor. These incidents demonstrate that insecurity in the region did not begin with the May 26 school abduction. So our conclusion is the May 15, 2026 abduction of school children was unquestionably an unprecedented event in Oyo State. However, available evidence shows that it occurred against the backdrop of an already deteriorating security environment marked by years of kidnappings, killings, and attacks in communities around Oyo's forest belt. Governor Makinde's statement is therefore best understood with additional context. While the chronology he described is accurate, the broader historical records shows that serious security threats had been documented in Oyo State well before the May 2026 school abduction. Our verdict. Governor Makinde is correct that the May 15, 2026 abduction of pupils and teachers in Yawata was unprecedented in Oyo State, and the sequence of events he described, that it occurred hours after his presidential declaration, is supported by public record. However, the statement, omitting important context, will be judged misleading, because available evidence shows that Oyo State had experienced years of kidnapping, deadly attacks, and bandit-related violence in the Ibarapa-Okiogun axis and surrounding forest communities before the school abduction. While the mass kidnapping of school children was unprecedented, the presence and activities of armed criminal groups in that area were not. With us in the studio today is SDP presidential candidate Prince Adewole Adebayo. He's a Nigerian lawyer, businessman.
lessons are that a free, fair, and credible elections is not a given. That all the stakeholders have to do their own part. And I'm doing my own part.
Who are these stakeholders, for the sake of clarity?
You have the people, they're the majority stakeholders. If the people don't want an election, it will not hold. If the people don't want a fair and credible election, it will not be fair and credible. If the people don't want a government, there will be no government. Next are the politicians. If they don't come out to contest, there will be no elections. If they come out and they contest fairly and reasonably and lawfully, there will be good elections. If they come out and as desperados and lawbreakers and crooks, the elections will not be free, fair, and credible. The next are political parties. The political parties are not credible platforms, genuinely committed to leadership recruitment and sifting the wheat from the chaff and making sure that the best of our people are presented as leaders and as candidates, and that they are trained in an environment that obeys the Constitution and obeys the law, and an environment that supports merits rather than selling favors. And the third is that the fourth will be that institutions that are endowed by the Constitution with supervisory powers over electioneering, INEC, law enforcement agencies, and judiciary, that those institutions combine together to uphold the law, enforce the rules, and create a credible platform that is fair to all and that is a level playing ground. And lastly, that
the fifth,
the media, yes, the fifth one, that the media, which is the fourth estate of the realm, actually focuses on exposing corruption, exposing weaknesses of candidates, exposes differences in opinion, exposes the dialectics of the ideologies of different parties, and emphasize issues that are genuine and germane to the good order and development of the country. That so when we are politicking, it is when you are posing questions in the media, setting agenda, discussing issues, emphasizing issues, that it is those issues that are actually going to help the voters to determine who is the best candidate, which is the best platform, what are the best issues around which to contest elections. Those are the institutions. If we learn our lessons, I'm a party leader.
Before you go on the lessons, sir, let's quickly go on a short commercial, and when we are back, you shall go ahead with the lessons.
88.7 FM.
Ọmọlá travel and tour. Ilé-iṣẹ́ tó ń kóni rìnrìn àjò lọ sókè òkun pẹ̀lú fọ̀kànbalẹ̀. Ìbẹ̀rù Ọlọ́run àtàlùbáríkà lójú. Lèyí tó Ọmọlá travel and tour fi ń kóni rìnrìn àjò lọ sókè òkun. Bẹ́ẹ̀ látìgbà tó ti ń fàwọn ìkóni rìnrìn àjò lọ sókè òkun jẹun kò fọ́ máa lówó rí. Léyìí tó mú gbogbo ènìyàn lọ sọ́dọ̀ wọn. Pẹ̀lú àlàálẹ̀ àwọn ìgbésẹ̀ kọ̀ọ̀kan tí wọ́n bá fún yín. Ẹ̀rù gbọ́dọ̀ bà yín má torí pé wọ́n gbàṣẹ́ gbòǹtẹ̀ lọ́dọ̀ ìjọba lórílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà àti lórílẹ̀‐èdè Amẹ́ríkà. Àtìlẹ́yìn àǹfààní tó wà lọ́dọ̀ Ọmọlá travel and tour ni wípé ẹ tún lè sanwó ọ̀hún díẹ̀díẹ̀. O ti wá fẹ́ lọ lọ kàwé ṣiṣẹ́ tàbí ìrìn àjò afẹ́ lọ sókè òkun láwọn ìlú bíi Amẹ́ríkà, Canada, Europe, Australia, United Kingdom. àǹfààní tún ti fìdí kalẹ̀ sí iléeṣẹ́ ọmọọlá travelantọ̀ ẹgbẹ́ra òdòlú iléeṣẹ́ wọn tó wà ní. number 114 ọmọọlá plaza lẹ́kàn Alabi street Àbáyọ̀mí Ìwó road Ìbàdàn. telephone 08079851232. ọ́fíìsì wọn lórílẹ̀‐èdè Amẹ́ríkà Locum Louisiana United States of America. ọ́fíìsì wọn tún wà nílùú Àkúrẹ́ ní ọba Adéṣídà road ọjà Àkúrẹ́. bẹ́ẹ̀ ni wọ́n tún wà ní Fákúnlé nílùú Òṣogbo. ọmọọlá travels and tour ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀ ìrìn àjò ẹ̀yin oníbàárà wa ló jẹ wá lógún.
Subhanallah. Assalamu alaikum o gbogbo mùsùlùmí àtẹ̀yí tẹ́ máa ń bá wa ṣàdúrà lóru níléeṣẹ́ rédíò Àgídìgbo. àdúrà wa ó gbà o. èyí tó ti gbà ò ní dàrú. gbogbo ti ń jẹ́ tọ́lọ́run. gbogbo mọ̀fẹ́ wa lọ́lọ́run ó fẹ́. gbogbo mọ̀kọ̀mọ̀kọ̀ wa lọ́lọ́run ó bá wa kọ̀. àsìkò ti tó báyìí o. níléeṣẹ́ rédíò Àgídìgbo gangan. a ti ṣètò ààbò àtètò tí ó máradẹ gbogbo ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa tá a bá jọ fẹ́ ṣàdúrà yìí papọ̀. lọ́jọ́ Thursday tí ń bọ̀ yìí ó ti yá. ẹ máa bọ̀ níléeṣẹ́ rédíò Àgídìgbo ní Thursday tó gbẹ̀yìn oṣù last Thursday of the month. àdúrà aláṣepọ̀ gbogbo wa pátápátá tá a bá jọ ṣètò lórí rédíò ẹ jẹ́ a jọ ṣètò lójúkojú fojú ríjú ṣàdúrà bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ́wọ́n ọba àlá. ọlọ́run a máa wọlá ẹni ó wà lápá ọ̀tún gbàdúrà ẹni ó wà lápá òsì. ó ti yá àdúrà aláṣepọ̀ tá a máa ń ṣe níléeṣẹ́ rédíò Àgídìgbo ní gbogbo Thursday tó bá gbẹ̀yìn oṣù. ẹ má gbàgbé pé tàjúùdù ni o aago 8 alẹ́ là á bẹ̀rẹ̀ títí dàárọ̀ ọjọ́ kejì gbáko. lọ́jọ́ Thursday tí ń bọ̀ yìí iléeṣẹ́ rédíò Àgídìgbo gangan. èyí tí ń bọ̀ yìí yóò lágbára pọ̀.
ọ̀rọ̀ ìdìbò tó wà ńlẹ̀ nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ gbogbo wa ni kò sẹ́ni tí ò kàn nítorí ọ̀rọ̀ tó bá kàn sáàsùn yóò kàn síbí ọ̀rọ̀ tó bá kogójì yóò kàn ọ̀ọ́dúnrún ohun tó bá kan abọ́yadé ti gbogbo ọlọ́ya ni gbogbo ọmọ ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ò nílé lóko lódò lẹ́yìn odi nílẹ̀ adúláwọ̀ ni àbí lókè òkun àgbájọ ọwọ́ la fi sọ̀yà lọ̀rọ̀ tó wà ńlẹ̀ yìí o ká lè gba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ kalẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ àwọn ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ jẹ́ a jọ darapọ̀ nínú àkójọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn tó ń fẹ́ rere ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ eléyìí tá a pè ní Oríyọmí Grassroots Mobilizer OGM káàkiri àgbáńlá ayé kò síbi tẹ́ ẹ̀ ti lè darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ẹ lọ sójú òpó ìtàkùn ayélujára tí ń jẹ́ www.oriyomigrassrootsmobilizers.com.ng ẹ forúkọ sílẹ̀ ńbẹ̀ gbogbo ìbéèrè tẹ́ ẹ bá ní ẹ béèrè ńbẹ̀ á sì dá yín lóhùn á dáhùn ìbéèrè yín láì fàkókò ṣòfò lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí www.oriyomigrassrootsmobilizers.com.ng lójú òpó wa OGM ọmọlúàbí pọ́nbélé ohun èèyàn lóhùn ọlọ́run. Àgídìgbo 88.7 FM.
Yes, welcome back. We have with us in the studio, joining us via Zoom, he's currently in London, Prince Adewole Adebayo, the SDP presidential candidate. So you can go ahead with the lesson, sir.
Yeah, so I was saying that the lessons is that each of the 5 broad categories of stakeholders have to play our role. And I know that I fall into 4 of the categories. I am a citizen, and I take my country seriously, and I take the issue seriously. That's why in my campaign, in my engagement, in my mobilization, I try to focus on critical success factors that if we get them right, align them well, we will be able to choose leaders who will confront the problems that we have from time to time with solutions and resources that are available to us, and then we can make progress from generation to generation.
Before you continue, sir, how well have these 5 categories played their role? How well have we played our roles?
Well, as citizens, we can do much better. Citizenship is a contract. It's a social contract between you and your country. You have certain expectations, and rights and privileges. I'm, for example, now aspiring for the leadership of my country for the 2nd time. It's a rare privilege. I'm in the UK here. I don't have such a right. So I can't come now and say I want to be the King of England or the Prime Minister of the UK. I don't have that right. So Nigeria gives me that right. In return, I have a responsibility to Nigeria. Pay my taxes, obey the laws of the land, and have civic engagement and so show loyalty to my country, and to take the affairs of the country seriously, and to be faithful, loyal, and honest, as we say in our national pledge. So I don't think as many of us as possible are doing as much as we can, and there's always room for improvement in that regard. And if we do get that right, then the second category where I belong is as a politician. I've tried my best to make sure that I'm a good example of a politician. I stick to the law, I obey the law, I do things right. And when I propagate my political beliefs, I respect the sanctity of police and judiciary. But I'm a member of the judiciary because I'm a lawyer. And I make sure that I use the law according to the dictate of the Constitution of Nigeria. And that when I engage the judiciary, it's not for mischief. It is to uphold the law of the land and to realize the rights of citizens or institutions of Nigeria. So those are the areas that we need to work on. If we work on those areas, our country will be a paradise on earth.
Back to the lesson, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, back to the lessons. Can you hear us, sir?
Yes, back to the lessons you said.
Yes, so you were speaking before I interrupted you to take us on how well we have played our roles across the four spectrum.
Yes.
So you can.
I also wrap it up by saying that those are the roles that we need to play. So if you are in INEC, let's say you are Professor Joash Abukpiton, you know you are not just an appointee of President Tinubu, you are a national officer, a constitutional officer for Nigeria, and that you are a guarantor of the continuity of our democracy, and that if you uphold the sanctity of elections, the credibility of the voting process, and you keep the integrity of your institution, and you don't do things to please one person or favor another person or spite another person, that you follow the law, you will have gone a long way in creating stability in the country. Because politicians, I can tell you, I mingle with politicians a lot, and I'm one of them. Politicians, despite all their troublemaking, if the institution stands firm, the politician will obey. You can see when the matter gets to Supreme Court, despite the ambition of politicians, they will give it up. If the INEC insists on doing the right thing, even the president, as a politician, will ultimately do the right thing, because he can't fire 10 INEC commissioners at once, and he can't fire 2 or 3 successive INEC chairmen. So it will be difficult. So it's for those who are there. The same thing with police and the DSS and other law enforcement agencies and the armed forces. If you remember that you are wearing the uniform on behalf of the country, and the loyalty you owe is to the country, not just the government of the day, and you stick to your guns, I believe so, that we will do better. And for the media, for example, if you didn't invite me, I wouldn't be here. And if you didn't ask me these questions, I won't be responding. So for as much as media uses the platforms that they run to promote national unity, national excellence, and they are trying to make sure that no crooks, no scoundrels, no unworthy persons find their ways into the leadership of the country, that they will expose everybody for who they are, intellectually, psychologically, ideologically, historically, and all otherwise, that no crook. Because in most democracies, the fear of the media is the reason why people with bad records don't come out. Because they know that if you have these bad records and you are minding your business and you venture into politics, the media will expose you from the day you enter primary school, nursery school, till today. Any information they have, they will confront you. And if our media can be like that, and if there are issues on which you are not consistent, what you said in the media 20 years ago, the media will break it out and say, but 20 years ago you said this. Why are you saying something opposite now? And if there is a weakness in your reasoning, syllogism, you propose ideas that cannot work, you propose measures and programs that you cannot fund, you show ignorance of the key critical facts and figures, the media will confront you. Those are the things that the media will do, and that they will try to enlighten the public and shame those who want to sell their votes or those who want to buy votes, and generally uphold the truth. If we do all of that, we'll go well. We'll get better.
As of today, July 29, 2026, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been in office for 3 years and 2 months. What's your assessment of the Tinubu-led administration so far?
Well, unfortunately, it's a woeful non-performance. And it is not me saying so. Look at every critical sector. Look at the livelihood of the people. You started your opening regarding the debates regarding insecurity, kidnapping. You're mentioning Yewata, Orire, and things like that. Just your introduction alone has answered the question. This was not what your people bargained for when they were voting 4 years ago. Yewata was not what the people of Benue bargained for. And so many other bad instances that I don't want to emphasize here, including in Abuja yesterday, in Benue 2 days ago, in Kaduna 3 days ago, and many other places that the media has not actually highlighted. This insecurity continues, and it's within the power of the president to do something about it, and he hasn't done well about it. And the issue of the economy, Nigerians are suffering. They are living in unprecedented poverty, unexplainable penury, and unnecessary hardship, which the president, by tweaking 1 or 2, 3 policies, could actually have prevented. Many of these factors leading to suffering are factors that are not inherited by him, factors that arose from his own worst case. So it's like a person who has a strain in his arm, and then the doctor or therapist that you went to actually breaks the arm now. So the president has broken the neck of, it's like a masseuse or a therapist or chiropractor who's supposed to help you relieve pain. Eventually break your neck completely and you get paralyzed. That's what he's done to the economy. And even though we warned him that this would be the consequences, it shows that the president suffers of economic illiteracy. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to manage an economy properly. Even though he's an accountant, and one has to respect the fact that his history shows that he was a very intelligent auditor and accountant. But clearly he's not paying attention to the economy, and he has been a very terrible manager of the economy.
On the economy, sir, the figures show some positives. For instance, GDP grew by 3.8% year on year in real terms in quarter 1 2026, higher than the first quarter 2025, which was 3.13%. Also in trade, year on year, 2.8%. Quarter 1 2026, 0.29% higher than the rate recorded in the previous year. Also in oil sector, we've experienced and we've recorded an increased growth of 2.57% year on year, which is 0.00% increase relative to the corresponding quarter in 2025. Then our GDP in real terms, mining, grew by 1.89% year on year in quarter 1 of 2026 compared to quarter 1 2025. Manufacturing, the same thing. So these figures are contrary to you saying that he has performed completely woefully.
You have just exposed how infectious economic illiteracy can be. Because the government, as in this case, is full of economic illiterates, the media reporting them cannot escape being affected by it. Number one, what you're just illustrating to me is like saying a person who had malaria and went to the hospital, and the hospital broke his neck, he got paralyzed. He's now recovering little by little from the paralysis. The malaria that took him there has not been addressed, but now he couldn't move his finger before, now he's moving one finger. That's you're not accounting for where you met him. Where the president met the economy is worse than before.
Where did he meet the economy, sir?
Okay. Now, you should be telling me, but if I'm the one to tell you, I'll tell you. When he met the economy, poverty had not reached almost 80% where it is today. Bag of cement was not selling for 14,000. You didn't have to use 1,300 naira to buy a liter of fuel. More companies were open than now. And the growth you mentioned, you have to realize that when you grow 3% in real macroeconomic development, we have to adjust that against the population. Because if you increase your GDP by 3% and your population grows by 4%, you have negative growth. If you increase petroleum production by 2% and the cost of production grows by 8%, you have negative 6. So that is why the macroeconomic indicators are always very systematic and very simple to understand. One, you find fiscal health. Is the government collecting more money today, but are they able to balance their budget better than yesterday? So if you are collecting more money nominally today, but you are still running deficit, you are borrowing more, it shows to you that you haven't got that right. Then you go to that's the government income and expenditure. That is to say, whatever government is earning, still cannot pay government bills. So they fail in that regard. Then you go to the monetary side, which is run by the central bank. You ask yourself, is inflation down? Even by their own records, 19 states have inflation higher than 30%. 19 out of 36 states. So automatically they fail in that regard.
But it is easing. As of January 2025, some states have hit around 40%.
What I am saying to you is that if a patient comes to your hospital complaining of a headache, and in order to treat the headache, you crack his skull, you cannot say, oh, the skull is joining back together. You shouldn't have cracked his skull to start with.
So, President,
now say that
the president cracked the skull of this economy?
Of course, because you only need to ask yourself, where was I in terms of my house rent, my children's school fees, my cost of buying food, my cost of transportation coming to work, my rent that I pay at home, or the cost of buying cement or building materials, iron rod, and all of that, cost of paying electricity. Where was I on May 29, 2023? Where am I now?
Aren't these results of the policies he has put in place to fix the economic problems, which he had told us to be patient? And if you were in his shoes, sir, in 4 years or in 3 years, what would you do differently?
If I were in his shoes, Number one, I will not make things worse than how I met them. The first law of medicine is that you stabilize the patient. If you can't stabilize the patient, what are you a doctor for?
In practical terms, economically speaking, what would you have done?
Excuse me. First thing you do is to make sure that you do 5 things. 1, ensure that you increase government revenue and lower government expenditure. He has not done that. 2, you do economic stabilization. You will see that inflation comes down, not higher. You ensure that unemployment comes down, not higher. You ensure that factor cost comes down, not higher. So the day I enter office, if cement is 4,000 naira per bag, it will never go to 4,001. I may not bring it down to 3,900, but I will make sure it doesn't go up. If the cost of transportation is 300 naira from Agbeni to Challenge, I will make sure it doesn't go to 301. You stabilize. They didn't stabilize. They threw everything out. It got worse. Now, if they're now trying to say that the damage they've caused is not improving, and that we should be patient. Let me tell you something about patience. The people of a country don't owe any government any patience beyond their tenure. If you rent your house to a tenant for 1 year, from May 29 this year, I give you my house till May 29 next year. You have to pay the rent. Between now, you are supposed to pay the rent when you come in, but you must pay the rent between now and that May 29. You cannot tell me to be patient with you. When the tenancy will expire, how will I get my money back? If you work for your company, you work from first day of the month to the 30th day of the month. They have between that first day of the month and the 30th day of the month to pay you your salary. If they say be patient, you are going outside the contract. The president has a 4-year tenure. He was elected for 4 years. And he stated all the things he will achieve in 4 years. If he doesn't achieve them in 4 years, the only patience we owe him is the patience for the end of the 4 years. We don't owe him patience for 20 years when he will not be there. So a government is elected to perform for 4 years. That is why Jakande in Lagos did not say be patient with me. He was elected, he came to power October 1, 1979, and he ended October 1, 1983. And everything he said he would do, housing, transport, education, he did them. They gave him, hold on a second, they gave him second term. That second term, 3 months later, by December, it was truncated. But Jakande has left governor of Lagos since 1983. Nobody will say he didn't perform. That's how you run a government. Murtala has 6 months. He is gone. Nobody can say he didn't perform because state creation, transition to civil rule, everything he said he would do, in 6 months, he already started doing them.
Okay, Prince,
so my recommendation is that no government can tell the people, use the rest of your life to be patient with me while I ruin your life. No, you have 4 years, you must perform within 4 years. If you don't perform, go, let somebody else come and perform.
Okay, Prince. So, as fantastic as those examples are, we cannot compare the economy then during the Muritala regime, the economy then during the Jakande administration, to what the economic situation is now in Nigeria. But just before we go on the final lap, let's go on a quick commercial. When we come back, we're going to be looking at your aspirations as 2027 knocks on our door.
Before you go, the economy is made worse by those who are there now. And if you read your newspapers correctly, you will see that when Murtala came, there were economic problems.
Okay, sir.
Amanda.
Let's
problem.
There is
solve the problem you meet on the ground. Don't lament.
All right, sir. Thank you. When we come back, we'll go on the final lap.
88.7 FM.
لبيك اللهم لبيك.
èwo ni ká fẹ́ ṣiṣẹ́ àtàbí múra ká mọ̀ káyà òkè ká fẹ́ ṣiṣẹ́ ládàá ní mọ́kà tàbí mọ̀dínà kó wá mọ̀ tún jẹ́ láṣẹ pé lẹ́yìn owó gọbọi iléeṣẹ́ Ajmabu travels and tours ní kẹ́ẹ̀jẹ́ àjọ bádòwòkọ̀ kájọ sàràfà ohun tó dá mi lójú ni mò ń sọ bí ìdínlá. ẹ má jẹ́ wọ́n gbé yín lámbà. fúnṣẹ́ àjà ti múra aláṣẹ pé pẹ̀lú ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀ bí iléeṣẹ́ Ajmabu travels and tours bá làwọn dáṣọ fún ni tọ́run wọn ni ẹ wò ìbẹ̀rù Ọlọ́run la fi ń ṣiṣẹ́ lọ́jọ́ tó ti pẹ́ ẹbí àjọ alálàájì nákàn léèrè àtàwọn alárànfà wa lọ́dọọdún aníwèé ẹ̀rí àyátà.
gbogbo àyè tẹ́ ti gba ládà àti làádà lápòyín dé.
oúnjẹ tó dúró re. ibùgbé tó súnmọ́ haram ẹ lè sanwó díẹ̀díẹ̀ tàbí lẹ́ẹ̀kan náà torí pé ọ̀rọ̀ hajj ti kú òǹtà àtijọ́ o gẹ́gẹ́ bí ilẹ̀ Saudi ti fi lélẹ̀.
ẹ kàn sí wa
ní OTM Islamic Center opposite Town Hospital New Ife Road Ìbàdàn tàbí OTM Central Mosque Bolúwàjí Lagos Ìbàdàn Expressway
08032484110.
08055447258.
Ajmabu Ajam Umrah experience with ease, comfort and sunnah.
Benefit, reward, values of Africa. Everybody join the world.
àǹfààní àti èrè ló máa jẹ́ tiẹ̀ lóṣooṣù tó o bá lè darapọ̀ mọ́ Value Circle Africa. ṣé o mọ̀ pé tó bá ń gbègbèsè ayé ìlera èrè ńlá ni láàyè ọ̀tọ̀ nítorí ìlera lọ́rọ̀. gbogbo ìgbà tó o bá tún wá rajà lọ́wọ́ Value Circle Africa o kàn máa sọ àlàáfíà ara rẹ dọ̀tun nìkan o tún mú ìgbélárugẹ bá ayé ara rẹ ni. nítorí bó o ti ń rajà tó péye tó sì lérè lórí bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ̀bùn tún wà fún ọ lórí ọjà tó o bá rà lọ́dọ̀ wọn. ẹgbẹ̀rún 45 náírà ni wàá fi darapọ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ wọn ojoojúmọ́ ni wọ́n sì ń gbòòrò sí. Value Circle Africa ló ń ṣe ìgbélárugẹ àwọn oògùn ìbílẹ̀ tí wọ́n fi ewé àti egbò ṣe nílẹ̀ Áfíríkà. fẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé ẹ pè 0901-227-3075 tàbí 0707-653-5189 àti 08062841295.
Akidibo 88.7 FM.
Welcome back. Our guest is SDP presidential candidate, Prince Adewole Adebayo. So, Prince, what would be my final question for you on the show today is, going into 2027 elections, do you have trust in the institution, INEC, and every other institution responsible for free, credible, and fair election?
Well, I trust in God. I trust in Nigerian people. And it is Nigerian people that will man INEC, that the one who will wear uniform in the police, do work in DSS, and all of that. So I believe that Nigerians want what is good for the country. It is just to show them leadership. So it is my responsibility to make sure that those institutions work.
How so?
And how so is very simple. You will see that many mistakes that INEC will have made, the SDP alone, the SDP with me, and the SDP in conjunction with other political parties, we've strengthened up INEC on many occasions. When they make mistake, we write to them, we force them, we put pressure them. They don't agree, we go to court against them, and we get a directive from the court to correct them. And we engaged. When the police came to invade SDP Secretariat, we continued to engage with the IG of police, with the Commissioner of Police, with Deputy Commissioner, with the DPO, with full pressure. Eventually, we're back to our office.
But all these you're claiming you do produced what you, in your judgment, reckon as incredible elections of 2023.
You keep working. Life is a continuum. If there is no final bus stop in the life of a nation, you wake up every day and do what you need to do. Let me tell you, democracy is like cleaning the marketplace. You cannot say, I've gone to Dubai market, I've cleaned it today very well. It will never be dirty again. It doesn't work like that. You clean it every day. That's how it gets clean. So all those countries you see, whose democracies work, whose streets are clean, if somebody does it every day. So it's not like if I engage INEC only one time, then they won't do something wrong again. No. Each time they do something wrong, I come out, and then not only correcting their own, we learn lessons. Like now, if you go to INEC, they will tell you that SDP have been fighting them for the past 10 days on allowing us to upload our House of Assembly candidates. We've written them various letters, had meeting with them. But eventually, when they allow us to upload and corrected the error, within 2 days, we've uploaded 90% of what we will have used 2 weeks to do. So they can see now that not only is the SDP coming to INEC to pressure INEC to do the right thing, when they are doing their own part, they do it on time. They do it well, professionally.
Prince, so, in 30 seconds, do you see yourself, do you consider SDP a much more formidable opposition than the other opposition parties?
What I see is that SDP will find it, the Nigerian people will find it easier to work with the SDP. And they will turn SDP from being an opposition to the government. That our principles are easier to understand, our politicians are more honest, our platform is clearer when we're more determined and we're engaged. And so if your aim is to change the government for the better, to improve the situation, SDP is easier for you. And it's a long-standing political party that produced MK Abiola. Our farewell to poverty and insecurity, you already know it. You know what we stand for. So what you need to do is to bring more people who are honest to join us, and then to support us and to see that we do free, fair, and credible election. We don't buy votes. We don't sell votes.
All right, sir. Prince, thank you. Thank you very much. Because of want of time, we have more questions to ask you. We hope that we'll be able to bring you again, especially when the campaign starts proper, so that we can table and discuss more extensively on these issues. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you, and may God bless Nigeria.
Amen. God bless Nigeria. Thanks so much to my producer, Wurola Yusuf, my associate producer, Baba Lasumadi Akonwo, my studio manager, Don D, Don, and Bolu. Same time, same station, next week. The program is The Quest. Thank you.
IPTV 80